Today on the Topic Show, CrowdStrike stock drops 30% in the past 5 days. Tikoker cries after Biden drops out. Trump Kamala advertisement goes viral. Head of the Secret Service is roasted at a hearing and being told she should go back to guarding Doritos. RFK Jr. roasts Kamala Harris in a viral video. Goodyear to sell Yokohamna tires. A person posting an upside-down flag is threatened by leftists who wish Trump had actually passed away. And 2012-era Mazda cars with stick shifts may be junked due to a lack of support from the manufacturer. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Guys say he's quite handsome and brilliant. Tease me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, still giving away a free 50 caliber musket or flintlock pistol with every IT purchase to celebrate the 4th of July. Go to toppingtechnologies.com to learn more. Lastly, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now going over to the business part of the podcast, do you have CrowdStrike? Well, their stock crashed about 30% in the past 5 days, and it's erased about 6 months, actually more than 6 months of stock value, just vanished, which is why I don't give financial advice, because stocks, especially tech stocks, can be so precarious and so dangerous and fluctuate so dramatically. I mean, before we dive into the article, just looking at their stock trajectory past couple of years, I mean, like most stocks, historically speaking, just long term, most stocks on average do increase over time. So, I mean, if you invested all those years ago, 5-year trend still up 185%. Past 1 year, still up 77.5%. We see that little drop down there. Let's zoom in a little bit. Year to date, still okay, up 7.53%. And then 6 months, yep, it's down 11.11%. Past 1 month is down 30%. Of course, past 5 days is down at 30, or I guess that's rounding up generously, slightly, down 29.79%. Granted, by the time this video is rendered and uploaded, it'll change because the stock market does what the stock market does. But yeah, CrowdStrike, I mean, they've been growing. I mean, since inception, the company's gone up 313%. And this is not good news, especially because a couple of weeks ago, they're just added to the S&P 500, which that alone caused the stock to jump by 25%. However, now they're behind what is being called the biggest IT outage in history, since, spoiler alert, many businesses utilize CrowdStrike, and heck, I'm a little bit biased. My IT company that I own, we actually resell and install CrowdStrike and other IT security solutions, and yeah, it ended up breaking a lot of computers or getting the cliche blue screen of death for Microsoft Windows devices, which obviously is not good. Now, going to the article, this has come to us thanks to Investopedia, which pretty darn good name. You know exactly what they're about. Specifically, the writer is Nisha Gopal. And they say, quote, CrowdStrike falls further while rivals extend gains after outage, which, let's not get too carried away. The biggest competitor besides Microsoft, since Microsoft does have their Windows Defender antivirus or endpoint solution, whatever vernacular they prefer. They also have EDR, XDR, EDR, and a bunch of acronyms for, because again, security is very complex, so there's a lot of variety. You can choose however you want to go. The main competitor, realistically, is SentinelOne. Now, SentinelOne is also a very good solution. It's known for being a very proficient cybersecurity solution, also being much more economically priced than CrowdStrike. I mean, their stock is around $22 per share, and they increased about 5% past couple days. So again, it's not like the competitors are skyrocketing to the moon, but nevertheless, they say, quote, oh yeah, let's see. They say, quote, CrowdStrike's competitors such as Palo Alto Networks, which they're known for firewalls and low cloud security, and technically they do have an endpoint that 18 people buy and appreciate. Again, they're known for being the enterprise. They're known for being firewall manufacturer, which they do the best, bar none. Their stock increased by 5%. SentinelOne shares increased by about 5%. Sorry, Palo Alto Networks, strike that, went up by about 1%. They say, quote, no doubt like competitors like SentinelOne, Microsoft, and even Palo Alto Networks are looking to seize on CrowdStrike's misfortune. CrowdStrike short sellers made, this is suspicious, they made more than $373 million last Friday after the cybersecurity stock plunged, according to research firm S3 Partners. Which, again, I want to know, who is shorting CrowdStrike? Like, they are one of the most robust reliable products on the market, bar none. No one, I mean, no one conceivably saw this coming, which is why I think you saw such a huge market correction. The stock went down so much because again, they should have seen this coming. They should have tested it properly, yada yada yada. So I'm surprised so many people were short selling it. Which, yeah, 373 million just for short selling a stock. Jeez Louise. And it is starting to, again, this is an anecdotal experience in terms of my IT company, mostly work in Texas, covering businesses. And I mean, we have clients who do, and some that do not prefer CrowdStrike. There are a couple that are wanting to move away because of this incident, but overall, there hasn't been the major backlash. Now, that being said, another big component people are speculating is about what's going to happen Q4. Now, Q4 is when most businesses, I mean, they do extremely well. So a lot of the revenue, a lot of the profit comes in. And a lot of these solutions, I mean, most people buy, again, this is a business product, so people are buying it usually in 12, 24, or 36-month contracts. And the renewals are usually coming up Q4. That'll be the really test of how many people do renew, because prior to this incident, the renewal rate was in the high nine. Was it 99 point? I thought it was 99.1 or 98.9%. It's really an overwhelmingly good rate of renewal. Now with this incident, it will be interesting to see how far that drops. But let me know in the comments, have you been affected by this personally at your place of employment? Did you notice blue screen of death? And then the cliche question of all, is now the time to buy their stock, or should we wait? How much lower could it go? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Goodyear to sell their off-road tire manufacturer Yokohamna for $905 million. Ah, Goodyear. My dad used to roll me down the hill back in the day. Those are good years. Ah, tire pun. Hopefully someone got it. Perhaps not. Now it's coming straight from the Goodyear corporate website, which say, quote, Goodyear announces sale of off-road tire manufacturer business Yokohamna for $905 million. They say the transition follows a previously announced strategic preview of OTR tire business in connection to its Goodyear Forward transformation plan. Goodyear's OTR tire business provides industry-leading OTR tires, which is off-the-road tires. So see the big cliche trucks, so the tires have grooves that so thick you probably lose your hand, or an iPhone 25 in them. Those are the ones they're talking about. These aren't the cool, asymmetric Pilot 2 Sport Cup Banana Falcon editions that go on Porsches and some Honda Civics. Now, they say, quote, and this is again from Mark Stewart, the Chief Executive Officer and President, the quote, the sale of the OTR business marks an important milestone as we continue to execute against our Goodyear Forward transformation plan. We are grateful to our OTR colleagues who have driven the success of the business and are committed to work closely with Yokohama to ensure a smooth transition for customers and associates. However, this is no longer quoted, they say, quote, Goodyear will retain its business providing OTR tires for the U.S. military and defense applications, which, again, those are something where those contracts are pretty lucrative and very long-term in terms of the sales cycle. It takes a while to get a military contract, but once you do, the contract is usually for many years. So it makes sense to, not just fiscally to keep that part of the company, or if I can enunciate properly, fiscally, but nevertheless, it makes sense because, again, those contractors are long out there, and to get them is a tall order. It's a quote, pursuant to a product supply agreement to be entered with the Yokohama connection with this closing of the transition, Goodyear will manufacture certain OTR tires for Yokohama at some of the manufacturer locations for initial period up to 5 years after closing the transaction. The transaction is subject to regulatory approvals, other customary closing conditions and consultations, as is expected to close by early 2025. Goodyear intends to use the transaction proceeds to reduce leverage and fund initiatives in connection with the Goodyear Forward Transformation Plan, which, again, when it comes to government intervention, an overwhelming majority of the time, they usually start to stick their nose in your business when companies start to merge and acquire companies, when the government thinks they might be getting too big. That's usually where you hear a lot more scrutiny. That's why a lot of people are looking at the possible sale of U.S. Steel to Nippon Steel, headquartered in Japan, because that reduces the number of U.S. Steel headquartered manufacturers, so they'd still be there as entities. I mean, in this case, just because they're spinning off an entity, again, not financial advice, but I would not think there'd be much government intervention or care at all, especially because, I mean, one of the biggest things the U.S. government does care about is government contracts. Makes sense. And in this case, Goodyear is still going to be in charge of manufacturing and selling those parts of the business, at least, again, for the relatively short term of 5 years. So interesting to see more business kind of to do more spin-offs and focus on their core competencies and starting to, again, this also give them some nice infusion of cash. Let me know, are you surprised by this? Did you even know Goodyear made those types of tires or owned this brand? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Culture Proud podcast, you have a person posting upside down flags or upside down US flags on the interstate going viral when they were threatened by leftist. Now, this is brought to us thanks to End Wokeness on X Twitter, in which they say, quote, actually, they say, quote, "This is what the left thinks of us. Media radicalization is real and dangerous," which, yes, it is a cliche, the pot calling the kettle black. And, of course, not a suit in sight. Wearing, what kind of guy is this? He's wearing gym shorts. So he's topless, wearing gym shorts. They do not look like running sneakers. There's certainly no New Balance 990s, to say the least. He's wearing, like, oh, is it the, not the knee-high socks, but the in-between ones. I don't want to say fashion F-, but maybe fashion F+. But nevertheless, that's, I usually say what they say is, infinitely better than, more eloquent than I, but this case might be a coin flip.
Get off this overpass, you racist. Your kind is not allowed up here. No, you come up.
So he's saying that to, she's a little bit shorter than him, a white gal with a ponytail, and they have the American flags hung up behind them. They're upside down. They also have the Gadsden flag, which, of all the flags, I'd say the Gadsden flag is one of the most patriotic and American.
Here all the time. No one stands with you, you racist.
Now, it's funny because there's a guy right behind her standing with her. So, I mean, if I were that other guy, I'd be like, well, actually, I mean, just anecdotally right here, but I partially digress.
What are you going to do with this video?
You are 100% evil. You are 100%
Now you have another lady yelling at them, and she's driving she does at least have good automotive choice. She's driving looks like a 2001 Toyota Corolla, which is one of the most bulletproof vehicles on the road, bar none. And yeah, you just can't break those things. And Bundle Business Fact is the most popular vehicle sold in history. She, of course, is wearing rudimentary fashion with, what is it, a visor? I know you're allowed to wear those outside of a golf course. A t-shirt, maybe jeans? Let me wind up really quick to hear the entire of what she has to say.
Video.
You are 100% evil. You are 100% You are 100% terrorist traitors to this country, just like him. And God damn you to burn in hell down.
Ironic, because most of those people do not believe in hell. And one of the flags is a I Stand With Trump flag as well.
Will burn in hell. I'm sorry that the guy was an inch off.
That's pretty much.
Trump derangement syndrome is real. It is very, very, very real. And look at, that's a little sad by Toyota. If you look, the trunk is no longer aligned. So she's a very rudimentary owner. She's destroying a tank of a vehicle. How could she?
Inch off.
I bet it only has 2 pedals as well.
That's pretty much what political debate in America has become.
Whoa! We own this gun tonight last night.
Get off this.
And I want to say this gentleman topless I was yelling has a lack of muscle, but come to think, probably eats a lot of soy. And it is sad. At the end of the video, the reporter says this is, what political discussion has become. And there are a lot of people who are just brainwashed to just viscerally hating the other side. Another very fascinating juxtaposition of the two positions. We have people on the far right who want Trump to be unalive, or switch that, people on the far left who want Trump to be unalive. And people on the far right, when they used to talk about Biden when he's still pretending to run and be in charge, most of them would say he should be retired, hanging out in a retirement home with his grandkids, eating ice cream. There wasn't mass number of them calling for political violence against him. And I can't, but I think they blame the media to have a part of making everyone just more on edge. Again, calling Trump the most heinous things the past 8-9 years now definitely isn't good for culture. I mean, it used to be back in the day. I say back in the day, like it was forever ago, like in the 90s. You'd be able to have a cordial discussion with your neighbors. Maybe your different political affiliations. You talk about, hey, I think this candidate is better because his position on to fix this particular problem. Is he going to do A, B, and C? And you have the other side saying, hey, I agree that this is a problem. I think the best conscription, the best way to fix it would do, D, E, F. And you'd have a discussion on which methodology is more efficient, based on historicals, based on use cases, and you'd see which solution is going to be best and try it out. Unfortunately, it's become a rudimentary yelling match between people more and more, saying, vote blue no matter what, or something stupid like that. It goes to people on the right, too, who say, I'm going to vote for them just no matter who's on the ballot. Which, again, doesn't give an incentive for the parties to put, actual intellectuals on the ballot or people with modicum of intelligence. But maybe I'm alone with this assessment. Let's dive into the comments, find out. Scrolling down more and more. Elon Musk says so tolerant and so kind, getting 7.4 thousand likes. You also have Gunther Eagleman saying, quote, the left is full of evil Fs, getting 1.4 thousand likes. Paul Zupa says, it's sad but not surprising given how the media has lied and poisoned the minds of so many Americans. There is so much healing that needs to happen, getting 676 likes. Which, yeah, is very true. Again, a lot of people have just been tuned into CNN for way too long. And it's another issue is, you look at statistically, who's seeking out data. A lot of people on the left just stick into the cliche, mainstream medias. They don't seek alternative positions. There's a lot of libertarians, people on the right, they do seek out additional viewpoints and information. There's a reason I specifically follow many leftists and people I may not ideologically agree with on X Twitter. So I want to hear what they have to say. It might be interesting. And I joke saying usually it's mentally vacuous, but you never know. Maybe they have an idea to fix a problem, or maybe they have something that could help. You never know. Statistically, probably not. High. The probability is not high. But again, more information the better. And echo chambers get boring as hell, and I don't think they're a good thing. I think that's one of the reasons we've had this snowball effect into the detriment and degradation of culture. We also have Sassafras84 says, these are the evil domestic terrorists of America. Time to either gather them up and arrest them or institutionalize them. They are dangerous. Getting 515 likes, which, they didn't. No, the one gentleman didn't give a specific articulate threat, so legally, I don't think you could do that. And I really do think I don't know if it's possible. I think the best way to fix it would just be laid back conversations, just getting people out of their shells. Now, unfortunately, I don't think that's likely to happen, but I think that would be one of the best ways to do it. Let's see here. Florida 1 says, these people are mental. How do they become this way? 1, media 24/7 programming. 2, Democrats saying Trump is an existential threat. Joy Reid gives you an example. And let's see what she has to say. This might be painful, but we'll listen to her.
And not spread COVID around, but also to remind people of what...
People say my hair's bad. Jesus.
Spread COVID around, but also to remind people of what hell we went through with COVID because of Donald Trump. Here is a great messaging opportunity for President Biden to bring out the tape and remind people of how many people died. 1 million people are no longer with us.
Fascinating how when Biden came into office, all the mainstream media stopped using that death ticker on the pandemic. They had that on every second of the day when Trump was in office.
Grandmas were dying alone with their iPad. Mm-hmm. Great opportunity and messaging opportunity should the White House choose to take it.
Yeah. Joy Reid. One of the most ironic names because she is very much not a joy. And ridiculous of a name as well. It's almost as dumb as a name like Topping. Oh, wait. I digress. See if there's any other contrarian comments here. Johnny Maga says, every rabid leftist I know in my neighborhood drives a total shitbox cars like this. You'll OFC have your upper class lawyer types vote for Biden and drive Audis, but the nastiest ones live in dumps and plant 10 signs in their weed infested yards. Getting 272 likes is a picture of her with the leftist crazy gal with the Camry, vintage 2001 era, which I don't know about. That'd be fascinating to see. That'd be fascinating to see the statistical ownership of what cars people have based on political affiliation and income. That being said, I know a lot of people who are middle and right who have old cars because the best car, I always tell people, the best car on the road is one you have that's already paid off. My parents still drive a 2001 Honda Accord. I think it's bulletproof damn near, and they're driving in the Midwest with all crappy salt they put on the roads. They're by no means leftist. So I don't think that's necessarily true in terms of the car condition. But yeah, let me know about that. Do you know anyone, in your group of friends, do you see the people who have the crappiest cars are more radical on the left? See. One bad dude says they have been radicalized, getting 961 likes. The right girl says no one stands with you. Meanwhile, literally 70% of the country stands with them, getting 729 likes. And again, there's a guy right behind that girl they're yelling at. He should have been like, well, I am right here. It would have been even better if he brought a poster board that says, I am standing with her. But no, nevertheless. We'll do one more. Descended West says, imagine being that hate and nasty and still looking thinking you're with the good guys. Extraordinary. Getting 968 likes, which, yeah. Another thing that is really weird. I don't think it's a good thing culturally. I think a big issue with society and culture is that many people replace religion and neighborhoods and that culture with politics. It's their new sports balls team. They have to cheer for the blue or cheer for the red, and they just mindlessly vote. I mean, you see this on next Twitter. People mindlessly vote for people just because they're on the team. Which I always tell people, it's ridiculous, especially if you're on the right, because there's so many rhinos that will say they're Republican but not really in practice, and they don't even vote that way. So I always tell people, if you can give me 3 to 4 bullet points or 5 bullet points of why you think a candidate is good or what kind of policies they have, I'll respect your vote, even if I don't agree with that person's ideology of how to fix the problems we are discussing. But let me know in the comments. Person definitely, they definitely don't seem well, but let me know, as always. Fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting cultural news, you have a TikToker leftist breakdown after Biden announced he dropped out earlier this week. Now, I want to say the big red flag is the nails, but yes, actually, no, I will say that. Because again, men don't do this. And legally speaking, I think this is a man. And, right off the bat, you see he has painted his nails black, and then some of you are even checkered. Yeah. Now, this is showing to us thanks to leftist TikTok. There's a TikTok says, TikToker has complete meltdown because Biden dropped out. Interestingly enough, the car doesn't look too nice. They'll let me know. I mean, it's definitely not a make and manufacturer I can ID at the moment. I do apologize because it's about a minute long and it's a little bit. I'm not saying your earballs might, be in pain or eyeballs might melt in disgust, but not pleasant. But we'll get through it together. And of course, he's wearing a rudimentary t-shirt. As we all know, true men always suit up. And don't get me on the cost. You can get a good suit at Goodwill for a good price. And without too much further ado, jeez. So for those who are just tuning in on Spotify or one of the audio podcasts, which are all on major platforms, appreciate you giving me a rating. It is a overweight white guy with glasses, which, dude, I think most people get glasses eventually. I'm not going to knock him for that. He's wearing a t-shirt, and then he has pretty long hair, which, if you dig on the MySpace, you'll see I had long hair back in the day. I'm not going to hold that against him. I am surprised how the hair is natural color. It's not like neon pink or blue. He's hitting himself in the head because someone he's rooting for is no longer on the ballot.
He's dropped out! He dropped out!
Seriously,
Joe Biden, please! Gen Z, we need to band together. Please. He was for Gen Z's first president.
Kid from the Goodyears is not aging well. I mean, yeah. Look, upside, he's got some good hair. It's got the body or whatever it's pretty. If you do a slow motion, you just remove the audio. It almost looks like a hair commercial or like a shampoo commercial. Yeah. Insane. And again, how much would I pay to be able to ask him the question? I don't know if he would answer, but again, what are 5 bullet points why this person wanted to vote for Biden? Or was it just all visceral emotion based on what the mainstream media and his friends tell him to do? I can't help but think you could name 2 things Biden did for him. You could say maybe he wanted to give taxpayer dollars to this guy or this kid or for student loan forgiveness. Supreme Court shot that down. You should pay the debts that you take out. Yeah, I would be fascinated to hear what accomplishments or what policy constituencies he really appreciated of Biden's. I can't think of many, but let me know in the comments. But pretty well, this got 6.1 million views and 51,000 likes. The first response to this song comes from AKA. Says typical liberal, getting 1.3 thousand likes. Paul Zupa says, wow, this guy needs to get a grip, getting 138 likes. I mean, I don't want to say hitting the gym will fix all your problems in life, but many of them, yeah, actually, yeah, many of them. Let's see here. What is this person saying? Strawberry Tattoo says, meanwhile, Gen Z.
It's so embarrassing.
This says 22-year-old Gen Z was a Trump hater who let the media get to her is now voting for Trump.
I'll be the first to admit that I was a Trump hater. I did not like Trump at all. I thought that he was the most racist human being on this earth. I didn't understand why people praised him as a president or wanted him to be elected in the first place. It's embarrassing to say that the media did get to me, that I believed all those lies they sold, not only them, but a bunch of influencers. Like I said, so embarrassing. But here we are 4 years later, and I can confidently say that the choice has never been more clear, and I will be voting for Trump come November 5th. I am only 22 years old. I understand that I am still young. But if you're somebody that used to be like me, that was a little bit more liberal or leaning towards Biden, just anybody really that wasn't Trump, I urge you to dig a little bit deeper. The main thing I was always told was, oh, you're Mexican. Trump is racist towards Mexicans. Because somebody would show me a 2-second clip from an interview that was maybe an hour long. Dig a little bit deeper. There's always going to be minor things that we don't agree with, but this man loves this country. There's absolutely no denying that. He wants the best for it. He's going to secure our borders. He believes in immigration when done legally. He believes in keeping men out of women's sports. He wants to stop with the whole gender and politics in school nonsense. He will make America affordable again. I hope I can get married and have a family within the next 5 years, but that's not going to be possible if Biden or any Democrat gets elected into office. I can go on and on about why Trump is a man for the job come this November. And for the next 4 months until election, this account will be completely political. I'm going to do everything I can to be a voice for Trump, especially with Gen Z. Love you guys and everybody that follows me. Thanks for being here. I will be the...
As the youth might say, based. It's easy to see that she's, voting Republican or she's just middle of the road because she actually has long hair that's not blue or pink and she has a cross as a necklace. I got 3.1 thousand likes. What does that meme say? Ethan reposts a picture by Zuby, says, quote, they want you to be godless, sexless, genderless, childless, depressed, anxious, afraid, fat, drug addicted, lonely, physically weak, mentally weak, in debt, isolated, living in a pod, eating bugs, and dependent on the state for everything. Unquote. Getting 444 likes, which not out of the realm of possibility. Seems like a solid theory to me. Especially when you look at places like Chicago where they just want you perpetually on government assistance, so you vote for bigger and bigger government. Let's see here. Scrolling down more and more. Has Exceedley's Brown? I apologize if I'm actually butchering that. Says, I'm calling fake on this. No tears. You know this guy would have real tears even if he was just out of Toriano's pizza rolls. I didn't even know that was a thing. Toriano's? Got 2.3 thousand likes though. Maybe it was a fake. John simply says, I bet his pronouns were bundle of sticks. It getting 2.1 thousand likes. Let's see here. Kiwi Patriot says, even worse, me watching the left realizing the 100 million ballots they pre-filled now have the wrong name. Getting 319 likes. Going down more and more. You have Wholesome Humor saying America right now is Trump dancing video getting 505 likes. Let's see here. Phoenix says, me watching all the libs melt down in glorious fashion. It's Leonardo DiCaprio looking through a fancy movie camera. Getting 693 likes. See here. Scrolling down more and more. Joe Biden parody account says, I gotta sniff that hair though. Getting 159 likes. Though there is, interestingly enough, I don't see a community note on this. There probably should be a community note because she's way too old for that. Scrolling down more and more. Tara Bull says these people are having a rough week, getting 518 likes. Tyler Zed says severe mental illness, getting 346 likes. Let's see here. Audie Sauce says seems lovely. It's a screenshot or the still of this guy screaming, getting 93 likes. A couple more comments. So Sally says no way this is real, getting 82 likes. A couple memes of Kamala. Yeah, so a couple people saying this might be, they don't think it's real, but overwhelming consensus, this person thinking this person probably needs some help. And yeah, if you're crying because your person dropped out of a race just by choice, well, I'm not sure how many choices Biden has at this point, or how many he makes, but yeah, certainly no reason to break down like that. And let me know, do you know anyone in your social circle where you've seen these types of similar breakdowns, or people just going off the reel, just so dedicated to politics? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part podcast, you have the Security Head Kimberly Cheatle roasted at a hearing, saying she should probably go back to guarding Doritos, which, fun fact, she was formerly the leader of the security division for PepsiCo. Well, PepsiCo Frito-Lay, which owns, was it 68% of all the salty snacks in the salty snack aisle? They're bigger than many people realize. This comes to us thanks to Benny Johnson over at X Twitter. He says, quote, Representative found to Cheatle go back to guarding Doritos. And this is only about 13 seconds long.
You know what else is dangerous? I believe your horrifying ineptitude and your lack of skilled leadership is a disgrace. Your obfuscating today is shameful. And you should be fired immediately and go back to guarding Doritos. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I'm a little disappointed that the cliche music didn't come in with the glasses falling down. Dun, 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 dun. Because that is certainly based. Never forget, one of the first things this mentally vacuous gal said when they asked her, why didn't you have your own sniper on that? But she said, well, the roof, it was a little sloped. It was to be too dangerous to have someone on that. A couple days later, a cow climbed onto the roof of that building. And I don't mean one of the secret security gals is, overweight. I mean an actual cow just climbed on the roof. That's how that's how darn near flat that roof was. It was, yeah, the worst excuse you've ever heard. There's many ineptitudes that many people are led to believe that, yeah, this is the government trying to do it all along. Because, yeah, again, they also saw this. I mean, people in the crowd pointed to the individual for like 2-3 minutes saying, hey, there's a guy there. You should probably do something. And the government said, let's see what happens. Went pretty viral. Already got 470,000 views and 19,000 likes. Scrolling down more and more. Oh, only one like, but I'm a little biased. I think this gentleman's handsome and brilliant. The topping show says, quote, her team looks like they may have already been eating plenty of Doritos, LOL. It's a picture of the big gal just cowering, on her knees in cowardice while all the other Secret Service agents are covering Trump up from the threat. Only got one like, but I think it's whoever liked that is an OG. Craig Chamberlain says, quote, go back to guarding Doritos might be the best advice Cheatle has received today, given that she used to be the CEO of Pepsi, getting 252 likes. Scrolling down more and more. Rhetoric Press says her political career should be over, getting 76 likes. I mean, she should be resigning in disgrace. That's what happened, the last time this incident happened. But of course not. She's selfish and egotistical. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe by the time this video is rendered and uploaded today, she'll say, oh no, I apologize. I messed up royally. I don't deserve to have a job here. Scrolling down more and more. Let's see. Weenie Scola says she's a piece of shit. I can't believe she hasn't visited the site in the past 9 days and has no answers. Okay, 19 likes, which maybe she has answers, she just isn't telling us them. Wouldn't be the first time. Paul Zupa says she shouldn't even be guarding a bag of Doritos, getting 14 likes. Another person says the same thing. Admin Town, Texas, not a neurologist. Interesting, specifies that. Says, I wouldn't even trust Cheatle to guard a bag of chips. Getting 11 likes. Going down more and more. Corbin says, boom, he was fiercely but mostly peaceful, getting 7 likes. Robert Mayer says, I can't believe the entire country is wondering why she still has a job. That's all they do is dance around the question and when she is talking to the American people. Getting 4 likes, which, yeah. Be great if she answered the question. Let's see here. Scrolling down, let's see. Your name simply says, who else wants Doritos now? Getting 3 likes. Will says, thank goodness for Representative Fallon. Since this woman won't answer any questions, she should be shamed on national TV by all its members. Getting 5 likes. Good point. Yeah, someone says, meanwhile, Doritos, this guy dressed up in a Ninja Doritos outfit, getting 1 like. Which, I mean, they say there's no such thing as bad marketing or advertisement, right? It'd be funny if the sales of Doritos actually increased, which they could use. Their sales are down lately. Investaholic says this is absolutely savage, getting 5 likes. So a pretty good roast. I mean, will she actually step down or take accountability or actually have any consequences for her vast amount of ineptitudes? From putting people who are not qualified into that position of guarding the president, or that also, allowing this person to be on the roof for minutes, not putting a counter sniper there. There are many lists of her ineptitudes. But at the end of the day, do you think she'll actually be held accountable? Will she be, will they cipher the fine? Will they put her on non-paid leave of absence? Do you think she'll be fired again? Or will she get a promotion for nearly accomplishing their goal? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have RFK Jr. roasting Kamala Harris in one of the first videos. Now this comes to us thanks to End Tribalism in Politics. It says, quote, RFK Jr. in 2 minutes just shredded Kamala Harris's entire political career. I was going to say, their voices are usually infinitely better than mine. In this case, it might be equally difficult to understand. It might be a coin flip.
You mentioned Kamala Harris is who you said that the Democratic Party appeared poised to put into that position. You were critical there, obviously, of President Biden's policy. What, if anything, is different? How do you compare yourself to Kamala Harris if she does become the Democratic nominee for president?
Well, I think, Kamala Harris is the party of war. She is, she's a war hawk. The Democratic Party was always the peace party. Kamala Harris is a war hawk on Ukraine. She's a war hawk on China. I think that we should be figuring out ways to coexist with the rest of the world as best we can. Of course, we need to protect our national security. I think she's not going to do anything about the national deficit. I've never heard her speak about the chronic disease epidemic, I think she's a product of the corporate control of our democracy. And she's one of the authors of, in terms of civil rights, she has one of the worst civil rights record of any public official. She's the author of one of the primary authors of the school to prison pipeline. She kept 5,000 people, despite a Supreme Court order that she released 5,000 prisoners of nonviolent drug crimes who were illegally in California jails. She kept them in there saying that we needed them for firefighting and for other public work services.
Don't forget, when she was on podcast, it was about a year ago, someone asked her about that, and it was on that podcast she actually admitted to using the devil's lettuce herself, and she just laughed about this whole situation. Two-faced hypocrite, of course.
And that's just a modern version of indentured servitude, a modern version of slavery. She was one of the two leading public officials in California, which now has the worst education system, 49th in education outcomes in the country. 50% of the homeless people in our country are in California, and she was behind those policies. I don't think she has a good, I don't think, in terms of the traditional democratic principles, I don't think she has a credible record.
Well said, Mr. RFK. It probably got 5.1 million views and 56,000 likes. The first comments comes from Darren Gibbons saying easy work, getting 188 likes. Let's see here. A contrarian statement right off the bat. All right, you're interesting. Just say no to Project 2025. Says, are you serious? If Kamala stood up there and sounded like that, it would be a loop 24/7. Kennedy is still not all there. I mean, his voice, of course, is certainly gargly and graspy. That could be hard to understand, but I mean, he sounded coherent in regards to the words he was saying in the actual, actual substance. It seemed okay to me. So that did get 374 likes. Ashley Nicole says, wasn't too hard to do since Tulsi Gabbard already did, getting 131 likes. Lauren North says, okay, don't come at me, but what's wrong with his voice? This is a medical or something, just curious. Getting 106 likes, which I think he's had that for a couple of years. It's not a new thing. Let's see here. Kayla North says, no matter what, I want more RFK Jr. and to see his career continue to flourish. Getting 36 likes. Another contrary statement. Matt said, quote, the man that said that COVID targets certain races and gives other races immunity. Right. Getting 24 likes. Let's see. Scrolling down, you got Tyler Bullard saying can't listen to the voice for 4 years, getting 62 likes. funny comic strip or a little not animation, a little video where they take the piece of someone's face and push it down someone's body. We have Biden throwing Trump in a lake, or reverse that. Biden throwing. Actually, no. Biden couldn't throw more than a cotton. He couldn't throw anything. You have Obama throwing Biden into a lake. I need more coffee. Nevertheless, this real quote. This is from Will Rommel. You have a picture of Kamala Harris. This quote: "I'll be running for president of the United States. We have states. States should be united, and all the states are united. Have a president to preside over the states that are united." Okay, 19 likes, which I'm not sure if that's a joke or if it's real, because again, some of her quotes, it's almost like Dr. Seuss if he was inebriated all the time. I mean, some of her real quotes are as wacky as that. I wouldn't be surprised if that one is actually a real quote. Let's see here. Nevish Eats says, RFK Jr. seems to be a good dude. Shame he has the voice of crack addict. Getting 192 likes. And depending on your belief system, I know he did have, forget if he was on heroin. He did some use, or he was addicted to some illegal drugs early in his life. Good comeback story in terms of he seems to be a clean and coherent and contributing member of society lately. Even if I don't agree with every single one of his policies, prescriptions. Love says no lies detected, getting 5 likes. And he's got a bit of a following. I'm not sure how many votes he's going to be taking away from, Republicans versus the Democrats, or at the end of the day, does he drop out? Or does he drop out and endorse one of them? See one more meme. We have Mason Bo says pee pads to knee pads. And there's a picture of Biden and then Kamala. Getting 5 likes. Which, if you look at her career, it is like this textbook story of sleeping your way to the top. And I guess anyone literally can do that. Let's see here. One more. Ron says, Kamala Harris is an unserious candidate. She ruined thousands of lives of prisoners and prosecuted tons of young black men for nonviolent drug crimes. Who's her voting base? And quote, getting 9 likes, which, yeah, she dropped out of the California primary years ago. Again, she also called Biden an evil racist before becoming his VP. She was so unpopular, she dropped out early. She didn't even get like 1 delegate vote. It was that bad. So yeah, I'm not sure about the electability of Kamala. But again, she might have 18 or 19 fans. I mean, I'm partially kid. I mean, there are a lot of vocal, bombastic people on social media, especially, will vote for her just because she's a Democrat. She's going to maybe be the Democratic nominee. There's already speculation of, well, maybe they swap her out. I mean, given how many laws are broken and how twisted politics is, I think it's fair to say nothing's out of the realm of possibilities. So, let me know in the comments. As always, fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Trump-Kamala ad going viral on X Twitter. Now, this was brought to us thanks to DC Drano, who says, quote, Trump has already released an ad dunking on Kamala. These guys are the top of their game, unquote. It's about 30 seconds long, so not too much further ado.
Kamala was in on it. She covered up Joe's obvious mental decline.
Our president is in good shape, in good health, tireless, vibrant, and I have no doubt about the strength of the work that we have done.
But Kamala knew Joe couldn't do the job, so she did it. Look what she got done. A border invasion, runaway inflation, the American dream dead.
Yeah, don't forget, Biden said, I'm gonna put Kamala in charge of the border. Come on, man. And that was one of the very few jobs he said, Kamala, you're on that, right? And like, was it for like almost a year? She never even went to the border once or something like that? Like, and let me know in the comments, do you think they've done a good job at the border? I would be fascinated if you could find anyone in the real world who says, oh yeah, the border is secure in the United States.
They created this mess. Kamala owns this failed record. Make America Great Again Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising. Kamala.
It's kind of funny. I have to read that like it's an old pharmaceutical commercial. Again, this is technically made by a super PAC as well. It's from the posted first by the Trump War Room on X Twitter. I already got 3.2 million views and 53,000 likes. One of the first comments comes from Richard saying, quote, keep in mind Donald Trump isn't running against Biden, Kamala, Hillary, Obama, or Newsom. He's running against the mainstream media and the deep state, unquote, getting 401 likes. Jay Han says the debate is going to be insane. She can't claim dementia, getting 148 likes. Let's see. Looks like a Kamala clip from Florida. One says, it makes you wonder how this woman got this far. Oh, sleeping her way to the top, of course.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
They vote. They clap the seals. The mindless cows clap for her. Well, I guess they use their hooves to clunk together. But yeah, they want to reduce the population. They're saying the quiet part out loud these days.
Children can breathe population.
Or is that again?
Reduce population. More of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
I mean, has she never heard of a Brita filter? Not sure what it's to do with clean water. You got 48 likes. Let's see here. Diane Akoli says, here's 4 straight minutes of Kamala Harris being unburdened, which we'll watch it for a minute or two.
What has been.
Obviously.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know? What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been.
Who's
what
writing her speeches?
can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What we can see, what we believe can be unburdened by what has been. What can be
She says it like she thinks it's
unburdened by
smart.
what has been.
What can be unburdened by what has been. What can be unburdened by what has been.
What can be.
Yeah, we're not gonna watch that. That got 31 likes. Craig Chamberlain says, quote, is it selfish that I'm excited about Kamala Harris's nomination purely for the memes? Getting 102 likes. Loki Ray says 2.0 says, all they have to do is play this like 5 minutes of Kamala repeatedly saying I'm burdened by what has been. Video that's nuts. Getting 68 likes. Going down more and more.
All in which you live.
Sarah says, hey, this is one that just fell out of the tree for us. We're so blessed with this one now. Is 13 seconds?
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
I mean, the good news for her is she has a job guarantee for life. If you ever watch the like audition or be in the Batman universe, just like the Joker, only scarier because she's destroyed millions of lives. Got 31 likes for that particular little clip. You have Richard saying everyone in the mainstream media, the cabinet, the Democratic Party knew Biden was senile and incapable for doing the job. They saw him fall asleep on camera in meetings, and the world leaders didn't care about until now that he's losing. Getting 69 likes, and very true. Downtown Fairy says, heels up, getting 9 likes. Let's see. Any contrarian statements? Tiffany X says they knew this was coming, getting 8 likes. And as a meme of Kamala says, believe me, I didn't use knee pads. I deserve to be president. Getting 10 likes. An interesting fact check to see if she actually did throughout her career. So yeah, her speaking abilities or lack thereof are not going to help her out. And that laugh, again, these people have publicists, they have teams around them that are supposed to make them look good. It's almost unfathomable to think that no one in her inner circle or no one around her says, Kamala, that laugh, it's got to stop. No one likes it. People on the left don't like it. People on the right certainly don't like it. It is just like the Joker from the Batman. Now, the real question is, will she really be the nominee? Will she really be running for president? There's a lot of people speculating maybe she won't. There's a lot of people saying, well, legally, all the funds that were raised under the Biden-Harris campaign, that can't be used for someone else. That being said, it would be the first time they broke laws in politics. That precedent is broken long ago. But let me know in the comments, do you think she'll realistically still be running? Will they switch her out for someone else? Let me know. As always, fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Mazda out of production cable might be killing manuals from the 2012 to 2013 era. Now this comes to us thanks to Jose Rodriguez Jr. over at The Drive. They say, quote, out of production parts leave some manual Mazdas undrivable. A discontinued cable in the first manual Skyactiv 3s are pushing the cars to an early grave. because there's not a cable. That's pathetic to say the least. That Mazda, they don't have spare parts for that. They can't renew an old contract for a subcontractor. They better fix this, because this is terrible customer service. Again, these cars aren't that old relative to, I mean, there's a debate on how long you support previous models when you're a manufacturer. I mean, 2013, 2012, people keep their cars a lot longer than that on average in the United States. It also makes your brand look rudimentary and subpar if you can't get a simple cable for that car. Now, they say, quote, Mazda's vehicles have been go-to suggestions among enthusiasts for some time. In fact check, maybe for the Miata, that certainly is an enthusiast vehicle with a cult following, which still comes with manual transmission, as all cars should be by default. Not sure about the whole portfolio. Nevertheless, they say, quote, the automaker has an uncanny talent for turning boring cars into reasonably fun machines up until recently. Mazda have punched above their weight in terms of value quotient, but a number of 2012 to 2013 Mazda 3 owners are at risk of having the car recant their faith in Mazda now that an out-of-production part has left the car without hope of repair. The replacement part is a cable in the gear shifter assembly of the first Mazda 3 Skyactiv models in North America, specifically those equipped with the 2-liter inline-4 engine with a 6-speed manual transmission, which should be all cars by default, of course. They say, quote, it turns out that the car with this combination of engine and transmission use a cable that's unique to them. Mazda stopped making the cable and replacement part in 2019, according to multiple owner accounts that cite Mazda dealers. The cable enables gear shifts in the car with the beloved 6-speed manual transmission, but can fray over time. If the cable frays, or when the cable fails, the transmission becomes inoperable, rendering otherwise good Mazdas incapable of driving, as one frustrated owner tells The Drive. Timothy Allen owns a 2013 Mazda 3 with a Skyactiv engine and a 6-speed stick. He explains, quote, the vehicle started off having difficulty engaging fifth and third gears at speed. The engagement becomes more and more vague to the point where now they are difficult to use at all. The cable is frayed and split at the transmission end where it attaches to the linkage. Given that it's a multi-material metal, which is metal braid, metal core, plastic grommet, rubber shell assembly, DIY repairing doesn't seem possible. It's looking to getting a custom cable set make, but initial estimates put that at several $1,000s in Southern California, which, yeah, it's partially because of California crazy inflation and the high cost of living there. I can imagine the cost of having a business there, as well as the actual, the business of building, the insurance, just all that cost has to be huge. They say they've contacted numerous Mazda parts vendors and have done an exhaustive search to no avail. Alan tells me he's been with Mazda owner for the past 3 decades and actually learned to drive a 1996 Mazda MPV minivan. The issue with Mazda no longer making replacement cables for certain Mazda 3 came as a surprise for Alan, who said he's had no trouble with replacement parts for his old MPV as recently as 2019. Even after 23 years, Mazda made, quote, most parts for the underrated minivan. According to Alan, this makes the lack of replacement cable for his 11-year-old Mazda 3 all the more frustrating. As it stands, his car is no longer drivable without skipping first, third, and fifth altogether. Which that's just ridiculous. In terms of the engine, that is really darn near bulletproof reliability. He says, quote, it's a shame because this is a single most valuable vehicle I've ever owned with almost 250,000 miles driven in hard Southern California city miles. It still retains the original clutch, and the check engine light has never come on. I just changed my fluids, brakes, and shocks. It still gets 35 miles per gallon and burns absolutely none of its 0W20 full synthetic oil after all that time. That's insane. They say, quote, worst of all, Allen's Mazda 3 is under the average age of cars in the U.S., which hit 12.5 years in 2023. This issue affects vehicles that are 11 to 12 years old, meaning cars that aren't very old at all. It's unclear if the issue is related to the ship's cable's life in terms of age or use. Other reports show that the failure modes that haven't gone past 100,000 miles, while Allen's is close to 250,000 miles. Which, yeah, that is so pathetic. Such a reliable engine and transmission is just that little cable. Again, in terms of PR, and again, in terms of volume of units, unfortunately, that might mean this doesn't get a lot of attention from Mazda, because again, unfortunately, it breaks my heart, but only a little less than 2% of all new car sales in North America are with manual transmission. So again, the number of units of this actually sold is, unfortunately, I don't see that in the article, is relatively low to the entire product portfolio. but still does not bode good for the image and reliability. And again, it's going to plant that seed of people wondering, well, my Mazda, if I choose to get a Mazda, will be taken care of long term, or will I be, you know, shit out of luck? Will I have to go scrounge, you know, scrap yards hoping to find this one nuanced piece? And again, prior to this, I always thought, you know, Mazda was pretty good, especially with long term. Again, with their most popular vehicle, the Miata, they usually have pretty good long term actual support of that vehicle. Again, that's partially because of the huge number of units that they push out for a specific model. But yeah, it is sad to see Mazda drop the ball in this case. And again, in terms of good PR, I'm not sure what the cost would be to manufacture that cable again, or realistically, probably subcontracted out to another manufacturer who originally made it, most likely. But again, in terms of PR and good PR, that'd be pretty good for them to say, you know, due to customer demand, we're going to continue to, you know, support this model, even though they might even throw in something saying we know this isn't the most popular model, but we'll still do the right thing. Because again, it is hard to put a price on good PR, though in this case, statistically speaking, you probably could in terms of the cost of materials and, you know, making them. But let me know in the comments. I mean, this, to me, this is very much, I mean, it's not that old of a vehicle. I'd be irate, especially because, you know me, I only buy cars with 3 pedals, because that's all, to me, that's what every car should be by default. It's a lot more fun, and it's hard to think, I mean, just downshifting into a corner, I smile ear to ear. But I'd be irate if this happened. And thankfully, I have a Honda Civic, which, or SI, which Honda, I think, is much better in terms of my customers, my anecdotal experience with my family. Again, they have a 2001 Honda Accord, still darn near bulletproof and running. And we haven't had these types of similar issues. Again, it's anecdotal evidence. But again, that just drives my perception to think Honda is better than Mazda on average. But as always, let me know in the comments. It'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time again to tune in. Trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving the thumbs up, a thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.